to my channel. Today we have a Kaminari ex-listener, and it's a slumber party at Mina's house. I apologize, my voice may be a little bit raw. I'm trying to get these last 5 videos pre-recorded before I have to go out and I have to go back. It's a long story, but let's just get started. You walked into the classroom and you were exhausted. You sat on your desk and felt a flick on your forehead. You turned your head and saw your best friend Kaminari. You guessed the real reason why you were best friends is because of the similarities of your quirk and your personalities. Your quirk was electricity absorption. You could absorb electricity and use them as power balls and such. You were both goofy, funny, and a little bit pervy. Well, you weren't as pervy as he was, but the only difference was that when he overuses his quirk, he turns stupid. But for you, you get electric burns. He was your best friend since you first got to UA. Another habit you both had was flirting. Of course, it was nothing harmful, just innocent flirting to be funny. You absorbed some electricity from the room into your fingertips and flicked his forehead, giving him a shock. "Ow!" he yelled. He held his forehead and you smiled. "What's up, losers?" You both looked up and saw Sero. He sat down at Kaminari's desk and smiled at you. "So what are you guys doing for school break?" You shrugged. Maybe our arcade games, grab some lunch, play video games? Not much," you said. He looked at Sero and he began to think. "Maybe we can play video games in my dorm, and maybe more," Kaminari said, winking at you. You smiled. "That sounds fun." Before you could finish, Mina yelled to the 3 of you. "We're having a slumber party this weekend. You guys are all coming over to my house." "I haven't been there in ages," you smiled and nodded. "Sure, we'll be there." Kaminari nodded and so did Sero. "Well, now we have something to do this weekend," Kaminari and Sero snickered. Time skip. That weekend you walked to the address Mina had sent you. As you walked, you saw Kaminari and Sero ahead of you. Kaminari had his hands on the back of his head as he walked. Sero had both of his hands in his sweater pockets. "Hey guys!" you yelled out to the both of them. They turned around and Kaminari quickly turned back around. Sero just laughed, waving at you. "Hey listener." You quickly ran up to catch up to them and stood between them. "What's up?" you asked. Kaminari looked at you and shrugged. "Nothing much, cutie." He winked. You laughed and punched his arm. When you made it to her house, you knocked on the door. Mina opened the door and hugged the 3 of you. "Welcome to my home, or my parents' home. Come on in, everyone else is already here." You walked in and saw almost the whole class there. Even Bakugo. They were all sitting in an incomplete circle. You sat down and Kaminari sat next to you, Sero on the other side of Kaminari, and Mina sat on the other side of you. Everyone began talking, but only you, Sero, and Kaminari talked in a more private conversation, instead of spending it with the rest of the group. "How about later we go back to my dorm?" He wiggled his eyebrows. You giggled and leaned closer to his face. "That sounds like fun." Kaminari turned his head and rubbed the back of his neck. You were both laughing. "Okay, you two, get a room," Sero said, laughing. You rolled your eyes. "How about we have some fun now? Play truth or dare?" You nodded and everyone else agreed. We decided to go down the circle, so Mina went first. "So, listener, truth or dare?" You thought for a moment. You did love a good dare since there was a challenge, but truth was easier since it was less harmful, unless it's a secret you didn't want to share. Truth. "Who out of all guys here is the best looking?" You looked around the circle and thought for a moment. Kaminari." You wrapped your arm around his neck and he laughed. "Thanks." You let go of him and he smiled. "Now, truth or dare," he told Kaminari. He thought for a minute while humming. Dare." "Alright, I dare you to kiss the girl you like, but after the game." Kaminari sighed and laughed. "Sometimes I hate you, you know that?" He laughed. You continued the game, with Sero going next. After the game was over, everyone stood up and grabbed something to eat or drink. You were sitting with Kaminari and talking. "So, when are you going to tell me the guy you like?" You laughed and shook your head. "For the millionth time, Kaminari, I don't like any guys." He smiled and leaned closer. "No one at all?" You smiled and leaned closer again, wrapping one arm around his neck. "Nope." He laughed and sat back down. You pulled your arm away and sighed. "I just don't know what I want." He sighed and nodded. "I felt like that for a while, but then I realized everything I wanted was right in front of me. You smiled. I can't wait to see who this lucky girl is. You stood up and went to the bathroom. When you were finished washing your hands, you walked out and saw Kaminari by the door. Oh, sorry, didn't know you needed to. Oh, no. I actually wanted to talk to you about the dare. Oh, right, so who is she? Jiro? I bet it's her, huh? You guys always talk whenever I'm not around. No. Actually, it's someone else. Oh, who? Kaminari looked off to the side and his eyes shut. This one girl, I practically talk to her every day, and she's always flirting with me, but when she does, it's not a joke to me, and I really like this girl, and I think I may love her. Ooh, oh my god, who is it? And how have I not met her? I'm with you like every day. Kaminari smiled at you and held your face gently. He then gently leaned in and pressed his lips against yours. You didn't know what to do, but as you two kissed, you felt a zing hit your lips and your heart. He pulled away and smiled at you. See you later. He pulled his hands into his sweatpant pockets and left. You stood there for a moment and then walked, more speed walked to the living room. You looked around, but you couldn't find him. Mina, where's Kaminari? She looked at you and then at the door. He left, said he wasn't in the mood to party today. Why? What happened? You sighed and sat down. Nothing. I'm tired. Where are we gonna sleep? Mina just smiled and jumped up. Follow me, everyone. Mina began walking down the hall. You followed her and went into a room with a hammock, beanbag chairs, a fuzzy rug, and a TV hung up on the wall. You smiled and quickly laid in the hammock. Calling dibs! They all laughed or groaned. Later on that night, you just laid in the hammock and stared at the ceiling. You couldn't shake the feeling of shock that coursed through your body when his lips touched yours. You had never felt that way with anyone. You looked around the room and everyone else was sleeping, so you slowly got out of the hammock and grabbed your sweater. You slowly walked out of the room and then ran out the door. You ran out the door, barefoot, and you ran down the street to where the dorms were. You were wearing a black sweats and a black t-shirt that had a blue lightning bolt on it. You feel your feet become numb with each step you took. You made it to the dorms, and your feet were practically freezing since it was winter and you ran on the cold pavement with bare feet. You walked up the boys' hall and ran to his dorm. You knocked rapidly on his door and you heard shuffling behind it. When the doors opened, it showed a tired-looking Kaminari. Listener, what are you doing here? You didn't really listen to him. You just jumped up and kissed him. He stumbled back a bit but held your waist and pulled you closer. He kissed you back. You pulled away and let go of you. What was that? He asked, extremely confused and nervous. Well, when you kissed me back there, and I know how this sounds, and it's corny and everything, but I felt a zap. He chuckled and crossed his arms. A zap? I thought it was just you pushing me off. You then realized why he left. He thought you rejected you and you used your quirk to tell him to go away. No, Kaminari, I didn't push you away. He smiled and you held his face. I think it was my sign to tell me that what I wanted all along was right in front of me. Kaminari chuckled and kissed you gently. Then you kissed him back. He hugged your waist and pulled you closer. When you pulled your lips away, he looked down and laughed. Did you really run barefoot? Did you really run all the way here barefoot? He looked down and laughed. Yeah. I guess I didn't really think about my shoes. He laughed and then leaned in to kiss you again, but then a familiar voice came from behind the both of you. What are you doing here? It's holiday break. Go home. You both looked over and saw Aizawa. Yes, sir, you both said, and he walked away. You looked back at Kaminari and you both broke into a fit of laughter. You looked at him again and smiled. You were looking for the perfect guy your whole life, and little did you know, he was right in front of you and you didn't see him. Alright, I hope you enjoyed. Again, I apologize for my raw voice. The next few videos will probably have a raw voice too, because I'm recording them all at the same time. So, yeah. Alright, goodbye!